All right, if you're an INFJ, I bet you know this feeling all too well. It's that constant internal push and pull, right? On one side, you've got your deeply held personal values. And on the other, this really powerful drive to keep things harmonious with everyone around you. That internal tug of war, that's the INFJ's dilemma. And we're about to dive deep into what's really going on. It really all boils down to this one simple but super tough question. When push comes to shove, what wins? Your values or your connection to others? This is the fundamental conflict we're going to unpack today, looking at the two powerful forces playing out inside the INFJ mind. So, what are these two voices that are always competing for your attention? Well, in the language of psychology, we call them phi and fey. That's introverted and extroverted feeling. They are two totally different ways of making decisions, and honestly, understanding them is the absolute key to finding your balance. Okay, so first up is phi, or introverted feeling. The best way to think about this is like your own internal compass. It's that part of you that is just laser focused on your emotions, your personal moral code, and what you believe. Phi is what gives you that super strong sense of identity. It's that voice in your head that's always asking, wait, does this feel right? Does this line up with who I really am? And then, on the flip side, you've got phi, extroverted feeling. So if phi is your compass, think of phi as your social radar. It's constantly scanning the world around you, picking up on the emotions, the needs, and the whole vibe of the group. And its main goal? To create harmony and make sure everyone feels connected. And when you put them side by side like this, the contrast is just, wow, it's crystal clear. Phi looks inward, Phi looks outward. Phi is all about personal values, Fi is all about group harmony. And when you get right down to it, Phi is driven by this deep need for authenticity, while Fi is driven by a need for connection. You can totally see how these two can pull an INFJ in completely opposite directions, can't you? So let's take a closer look at that first voice. What happens when an INFJ really lets that inner compass, their Fi, take the lead? What does a life look like when it's guided primarily by your personal values? Well, when Phi is in the driver's seat, you see everything through the lens of your personal values. For an INFJ with strong Phi, having that rich inner world and that powerful moral code, it's not just a nice to have, it's everything. It's paramount. You make decisions based on what feels right deep down inside, and sometimes that means putting the integrity of what you believe ahead of what makes the group comfortable. But, having such strong conviction has its own set of challenges. Leaning too heavily on Phi can make it genuinely tough to connect with people who just don't share your core values. It can kind of lead to a tendency to judge other worldviews, and it can create a real block when it comes to empathizing with perspectives you just don't agree with. So if this internal first approach sounds a lot like you, there are totally ways to build better bridges to others. First, make a conscious effort to be open-minded. Try to accept that other people can have completely different but still valid perspectives. Second, really lean into empathy. Actively try to put yourself in their shoes to get a feel for what they're feeling. And third, practice active listening, where your main goal isn't just to reply, but to truly deeply understand what they're saying. Okay, now let's flip the coin. What happens when that social radar, your Phi, is dialed all the way up to 10? Now we're talking about a world where connection comes first, where the main priority is weaving this really strong, harmonious social web. For an NIFJ with strong FE, connection is king. You are incredibly tuned in to the emotional temperature of any room you walk into. Keeping the social harmony going and making sure everyone feels included and heard, that often takes priority over everything else. You might find you just naturally put the needs of other people first to keep the peace and strengthen those bonds. But, and this is a big but, this amazing ability to care for the group can come at a really high personal cost. It can mean you end up hesitating to share what you're really feeling, just to avoid a conflict. You might find you're constantly putting others' needs way ahead of your own well-being, which makes it incredibly hard to stand up for your own values or set firm boundaries. So if that F-dominant side is hitting home for you, here's a little toolkit to help you stay true to yourself. It all starts with practicing assertiveness, learning to communicate what you're feeling respectfully but also firmly. And that's built on a foundation of self-awareness. You gotta know what you need before you can ask for it, right? And finally, learn to set boundaries. Saying no isn't selfish. It's absolutely vital for protecting your own well-being. So we've explored the two extremes, right? The path of pure, unshakable values and the path of pure, harmonious connection. But here's the secret. The real goal here isn't to pick a side. For an INFJ, the true art is in finding the balance, your own personal true north, by bringing both of these powerful inner forces together. And this, right here, is the core message. It is not about choosing your values or your connections. It's about synthesis, not sacrifice. The real work is in finding that dynamic balance that feels authentic and is sustainable for you. This is it. This is the INFJ's sweet spot. This is where you can really, truly thrive. It's that beautiful place where you can build deep, strong connections with people, all while staying totally true to your core beliefs and values. It's literally the best of both worlds. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Knowing what you now know about your own inner compass and your social radar, how are you gonna find your unique balance? How will you honor your values while also nurturing those connections you care so much about?